Council, will you be voting for the developer to take the land? That's part of the right of way. It's a yes or no. They require, the developer requires a yes or no vote from the mayor and council to take property from the borough.
I would think the developer should be able to find a different way rather than taking more land. And the other ways to do this is probably to make River Road an exit only, and to have your main entrances and thoroughfares. If this does happen, we won't have a say in it because it's going to be settled in Hackensack most likely, is to make main entrances on Main and Madison.
So it's a no or yes?
I wouldn't want to see them affect, like I said to you earlier, my main interests are to not affect the residents as best as possible. My friend lived across the street before he passed away. And my main interest, I said to him, okay, was to protect those 5 houses on that street. Okay? Somebody else?
Let me make myself clear. If I'm on there, and if this question comes, as I said before, I have been sitting at these meetings for the past 20 months and listening to the development and how it was going to go. This in no way protects any of the residents in town, so my vote would be a flat no.
Simply put, no. But I do believe even if we lose in court, it still has to go before the planning board for site approval. So the planning board will still have something to say. But I honestly don't believe we're going to lose in court.
One of the things that we wanted to do by rezoning was to keep the control in the decision makers in town. Now the decision making is going to be in Hackensack. If it were to come back to the town to vote, I think there's enough property there where the setbacks would have to go into that property on that side and not on the borough side. So I would not want that the borough property to be affected, but the United Water property to be a setback further.
Hi, Dan Lopato, 917 Boulevard. My question is for all 4 candidates. Recently, the owner of the Brookchester apartment complex submitted a new plan for an all-new revamped complex. Do you feel, yes or no, that this site will be beneficial to New Milford, and why?
I'm not for the development. I'm not against the development. I haven't seen the plans. There's a lot to be looked at first. Being a member of the zoning board for so many years, you have to take a look at the positives and the negatives. I haven't seen enough plans or anything to make that decision at this point. So I can't decide whether I'm for it or I'm against it at this point.
Again, there aren't any plans. It's just in its infancy to see how things are, what it would look like. But again, just in the infancy. I would have to see the whole thing to make any kind of decision on it. The positives and negatives for the town.
In walking through the streets campaigning, the number one issue with everybody is taxes. The way that the taxes have been increasing is unsustainable the way we're going. This town is limited in the commercial area that it has, and we can't keep knocking on your door to get more money for your home. So we need to make some changes radically and soon. So the idea with the Brookchester is to create ratables for the town. Right now, Brookchester is costing our town a negative $230,000 annually. After it's all said and done, it'll swing by over $700,000, or it'll convert to a $400,000 plus gain for the town. That won't lower your taxes, but it will stabilize your taxes. That's what we need. Those buildings were built in the 40s. They are old, they're crippling, they're decaying, and New Milford can use a revamp of that section.
Mr. Bernetti came to us via the constant urging of Mayor Sabrisi, who wanted to answer basically the question that everyone asks year after year or all the time. When people say that they don't want the housing on the water company property, they always refer to and say that, well, we have low-income housing in Brookchester. Doesn't that suffice? But it doesn't by law. So Mr. Bernetti could actually make that happen for us by taking our obligation in full and planting it right there at Brookchester. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think Mr. Bernetti's the kind of guy, from knowing him, because this man flies up from Florida, he's not the kind of guy to mess around. He wants to get things done, and I truly believe that if he doesn't, if we show that we don't want it as a community, we'll just walk away. And the buildings aren't getting any younger. They were built when my neighbor was the mayor of town in 1947, at that period of time, quite old. And I think it would be a big benefit to the town. Right now, it's a conceptual drawing. It's not a finished plan. And I just want to refer to Mr. Grodsky about a mega mall that he refers to on the previous question. He shouldn't be scaring people like that. Thank you.